Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Cards, and had a few cards I've gotten in the mail here in the last few days I wanted to share with you before I put them away. And also I was going to share with you a player that I went to high school with, an NFL player. He's been retired for quite a while, but wanted to show you one of his cards that I got in the mail here recently. And I think I'm going to try to collect all of his cards. I believe he has 62 total cards, according to Trading Card Database. So that'll be a nice pursuit, I guess, to grab his cards. But let me get the camera turned around and I'll show you what I got. Well, okay, I got the camera turned around. You can see my desk is still a little bit dirty here, but let me show you some of these cards. First off, one that I'm really happy with is this Kaline from the 1959 Topps, the Baseball Thrills. And this is just a really sharp card. You can see it's really well centered, looks really clean. And I got this on eBay. I had made an offer to the seller, I believe, for $22.50, and was really surprised that they took it. So the total cost for me was like $27.50 shipped. But just a really nice card, and just happy to add this to the Kaline collection. So this is a card that's right up my alley with a nice centering, and the grade is a moderate grade. But boy, it looks sharp. Just real happy to add that. And then I also picked this up for the Kaline collection. These are pretty cheap. They're the 70-year commemorative patch card that Topps put out. And I have one for Eddie Mathews as well. And these are, again, a couple of bucks. But just really happy to add these. I have the Kaline and the Mathews. And so whenever I can get these for the guys I'm doing player runs, that I'm going to grab them up. And here's a guy that we don't talk about a whole lot, Roberto Alomar. And this is the 88 Topps traded. And wanted to get his rookie card. And again, you can see it's the traded. So it's a little bit brighter on the back. But number 4 of the traded series from 88. It's a little bit off center left to right. Probably brought that grade down to 7.5. But this is really just totally fine for me as far as that goes. And the reason why I got, well, I collect the rookie card Hall of Famers, number 1, but then Roberto Alomar was in this book called The Baseball 100 by Joe Posnanski, and Warren D in the CLE had said recommend this book, and I picked it up, and it's the top 100 players. You can see it's a pretty thick book. I actually talked about it in one of my other videos, but he lists the Baseball 100, the top 100 players, and it's kind of some of the reasoning behind some of his picks are rather unique. But I think they're accurate as well. And so he had Roberto Alomar, I believe, as like his number 96 or 7 player. And so I'm going to try to get the 100 players that are listed there. Of course, some of them are going to be ridiculously expensive. And who knows if I'll ever get them, but I'm going to try. But this is one of the guys I snagged up here. Nice Roberto Alomar, 88 Topps traded. And Gale Sayers, 1970. And this is a nice card. I got this on a Facebook claim sale, and not too bad of a price. And always like Gale Sayers, and I have a unique story about him. You can see I just got this in the mail here a little while ago. I haven't even taken the sleeve off of it, but you can see it was actually graded fairly recently, May of 2024. So fairly new grade. But yeah, Gale Sayers, when 2004, me and my son had went to a Green Bay Packer game in Green Bay. They were playing the Bears. And it was on Saturday, and they were unveiling a Bart Starr statue. And so me and my son are walking towards the area. We're about 4 blocks away, and we're kind of running a little bit late. I wanted to get there in a hurry. And so I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to my son, and I walked right out in the middle of the street at an intersection. And there was a car coming pretty quick, and this arm went out. Whoa, 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 and it was Gale Sayers' wife. So it was Gale Sayers and his wife, and right away I recognized Gale Sayers, and I was like, oh, I told his wife thank you so much, and shook his hand and shook her hand, and again said thanks. So I actually got to meet Gale Sayers in a unique way, with his wife actually putting her arm out and probably keeping me from getting run over. I mean, it was that close, and so kind of a life-saving story for Gale Sayers and his wife, and I sure do appreciate it. And we did get to see Bart Starr. We got our hats autographed. Me and my son did. And again, Gale Sayers, a great player. Really, really happy to add that in the collection. And then this is one I picked up also on a Facebook claim sale. about a week ago, and I am really, really stoked about this. The Fence Busters, Aaron and Mathews from the 1959. This is the second to last card I needed besides the 52 Topps rookie for Mathews. And so I've been looking for this for a while at the right price and the right look, and I really wanted to get one that didn't have many fisheyes on that green and yellow background. And that was one of the keys. And so I'm really happy with this one here. And got it at what I think is a pretty good price. So happy because I've looked at this at Strongsville, at the National. Of course, I've seen them almost at every show. And it's not a problem getting them on eBay either, but it's a problem getting them for the right price and the right condition, what fits my eye appeal. I don't like the fisheyes on the bright green and yellow, so this one is fisheye free, and I am so happy to add that to my collection. So really fired up about that. Then I was really happy because I had put in a few bids and had watched a few of these on eBay, and I was cleaning up one of my stacks in my card stack, and lo and behold, I have this. And so I just need to send this off to SGC. I'm thinking it'll probably get like a 3 or a 4, and that will be just fine with me. And a great card with the home run leaders with Banks and Aaron and Mathews, and then you got Boyer. So 3 Hall of Famers, and Aaron and Mathews to boot. Can't beat it. Just right up my alley. And so really happy to get this. And I got this on eBay a couple of years ago, and just kind of got lost in the shuffle of cards, I guess. So fired up to grab this one here, and actually fired up to find this one here. And we'll get that sent off to SGC. Hopefully next week I plan on sending in an order, and that will be one of them. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you was this 1991 Pro Set Mark Bortz PSA graded card. Now, most people haven't heard of Mark Bortz unless you're a real Bears fan. Jason from Everyday Collector, me and him have talked before, and of course he's a big Bears fan, and he remembers Mark Bortz. Now, I went to high school with, to school with Mark. I've known him since 6th grade. He was a year older than I was, and so he graduated in 79, I in 80, and when I say that I knew him, you got to realize the town we grew up in was so small, we didn't even have any stoplights. And our entire high school, the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, the 4 grades really averaged out to about 375 students. And our graduating class had about 95 when I graduated high school. So such a small school, you really got to know each other. I mean, you really, really knew each other. And I played football with him my freshman and sophomore year. And boy, was he ever a beast. And we're talking late 70s, and he was like 6'6" and 240. And he was a heck of a football player, obviously, offensive and defensive line. And he was also a really good basketball player. He was 6'6", big, strong guy, but he could rebound and he could shoot really good on the inside. But the biggest thing he could do was he was a good free throw shooter. And he drew a lot of fouls. And I remember Mark really worked on his free throw shooting throughout high school, where probably his senior year, he was probably, upper 70s, 80% free throw shooter, because he was getting fouled continuously because he was so big. Inside, people just could not contain him. But so he was a starter on the basketball team. We lost his junior year. I would have been a sophomore. We lost in the state championship game by a few points. And then in his senior year, we played Kohler High School. And Kohler had a young guy that was coming up. I believe he was a sophomore. So he was in 10th grade and Mark was in 12th grade. But this guy was Joe Wolf, who ended up going to North Carolina. He played on the Tar Heels and was drafted and had about a 5 or 6, 7 year career in the NBA. So he was a pretty good basketball player himself. And then Mark also was the shot put and discus state champion. I believe he still holds the school record for discus and shot put from 1979. But he had a really good career, Mark did. And he was all pro 3 or 4 years. He was a starter on the Super Bowl team. He was the lead blocker when Walter Payton set the record for most yards rushed. And Mark was an all-pro. I think he was on an all-pro team like 3 times. he holds the record for most playoff games as a Bear, I believe. He still holds that record, and he was voted the best Bear to ever wear number 62. So it was a real joy to watch Mark play in the NFL, and to know that I've known this guy since we were in elementary school. And of course, I haven't seen him in 40 years, but he had a heck of a career, and he lives in Southern Illinois. He has a farm, I believe, and he does come to Chicago every now and then. I think next year in 2025, well, actually it's hard to believe, but it'll be the 40th reunion of the '85 Bears. So that's they were a great team, and he was a great player, and just one of the most solid offensive linemen in Bears history. Mike Singletary had made the comment that once Bortz got his hands on you as a defender, it was over with, because he was so big and strong. He was truly a bear. He was said to have been like a mauler, that once he got a hold of you, once he got into you as a blocker, it was over with. And, Bortz went against some great players in his career, obviously. Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Ronnie Lott, just some of the great Giants teams, the 49ers, the Redskins, the Eagles. I mean, the list goes on, and some really good defensive players that he went up against. He held his own. And I remember, I believe it was his second year in the league, and they were playing the Cowboys, and he got into a face mask tugging fight with none other than Randy White with the Dallas Cowboys, who was a Hall of Famer, and I believe his nickname was Manimal. He was one of the toughest players, but Bortz went toe-to-toe with him, and when he did, I knew that he'd arrived, and that he was going to have a pretty darn good career. So I'm going to be working on his run of cards, and I looked at Trading Card Database. I believe there's 62 of them. I do have a few already, like his All-Pro card from 91 Fleer. And these cards, again, they're going to be really, really inexpensive, but just to grab some of them is going to be pretty cool. Here's another Fleer card that I had. And I kind of like this action-packed one. Is pretty cool. And pretty neat card. I have, this might be one of his last cards. It's a 94 Topps Gold. I've got this 92 Topps Gold card. And this Topps Stadium Club. So there's a whole bunch of cards to get, and I'm looking forward to getting them, and I'll just keep you posted on that. So 62 cards, and again, none of them are going to be expensive. This was probably the most expensive. I wanted to get one graded card, and I always kind of like these Pro Set cards. They're pretty cool. So, but happy to get that. I'm going to see about maybe reaching out to some of my classmates. I'd like to see if I could get him to get his address and maybe get him to autograph a few cards. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great week and enjoy the hobby.